All right. Let's see if we're here. Huh. All right. What is up, everybody? This is Lock Loaded and Goaded Weekend wrap up chat. We are just sitting here waiting for the group to come in. This is the pregame chat. We're going to sit here and shoot the shit, hang out, talk a little college football. I got some cool articles to review for today. And then, obviously, I don't know if you opened up the TikTok app, but I got a warning saying TikTok's going to be banned starting tomorrow. So this may be our last chat on TikTok. Pretty crazy. What's up, Pernell? How are you? Did you get the same notification on TikTok? Never fear. We are on other platforms. But yeah, roll tide, brother. Roll tide. Pernell, are you going to A Day? I am going to try to go to A Day, and there's a couple of people that have reached out saying they want to actually meet up, and so I was just curious. I'm gonna go. Like I said, I haven't been in a few years, and I like to take my kids down there. That's the kind of opportunity I like to take my kids to, so they can see what Alabama's all about. Uh, yeah, it's been a while for us too, but service internal error. Hmm, what does that mean? Yeah, I don't. Anyway, yeah, I we haven't been in a few years, but that's the game to take them to because obviously, if you have to get up and leave, if anything happens, uh, you know, plus it's huge ordeal, fan base. So it almost not homecoming, but it's still just as kind of as Bama fans, it's just kind of big for us. We just we it's huge. I like it. So uh, Um, how about that win today? Yes. Oh, yes. Okay. So I assume we're talking about Alabama. Assume we're talking about Alabama basketball. Alabama basketball looked fantastic today at Kentucky. Complete opposite of the way they looked against Ole Miss. Yeah, A Day is almost like a homecoming game, especially like I said, it's easier. It's easier than a homecoming game simply because we can go in, you know, whatever, even if he does, even if they ever, it's free, but if they ever do charge, it's very cheap. It's, you just go down there for a day. We're a day's drive away. It's like we're 3.5 hours away, so it's not a huge deal. Yeah, we're gonna try to go. We got a couple of people, like I said, to want to meet up, try to hang out, have a few beers. But yeah, Alabama basketball, man, what a performance today. I mean, what a performance. 100% agree with that, Michael. 100% great win today. Great win. I've got some cool articles. I know. Like I said, I know it's Saturday night, but I got some cool articles I'm going to go over today. Uh, yeah, I'm gonna try to go to 8-8. Like I said, when Saban was there, we used to go all the time, and went to the first one with Saban. I think we went to like 5 or 6 under Saban's tenure. I mean, obviously couldn't go every year. Am I rooting for the Irish on Monday night? Dude, it's gonna be. And I'm not going to sit here and sugarcoat it. Like I don't like either team, to be honest with you. I don't hate either team either. If I was gonna root for a team based on coaches alone, I would root for the Fighting Irish. I think Freeman's awesome. So yeah, in a way, in a way. But yeah, I'm gonna definitely try to go to the spring game. I think it's something that uh, I don't know. It's a good way to support the cause, support the team. Um, I've been to so many games and things like that, and now they're getting so expensive. You're rooting for Alabama. I'm always rooting for Alabama, brother. Always. That won't ever change. That won't ever change. But yeah, if you had to pick somebody, man, did y'all see the Chiefs Texans game? I want to ask you, how's Bama going to be next year? That's going to be a good one. I think it's going to be so tough to say this, but I think we could be better. And I don't mean we're going to be as flashy. I don't mean we're going to be as talented. I don't mean any of that. I mean we could be better, because if we have consistent play over roller coaster play, you don't lose to the Vanderbilts, you don't lose to the Oklahomas. You may not dominate teams like, but at the same time, maybe you lose to Georgia, maybe you lose to Tennessee, but if we're 10-2, we're in the playoffs. So obviously that would be a better year. Yeah, so Purnell, I like Freeman too. I like Freeman. I'm not a big Notre Dame guy, and I can't stand cheering for Notre Dame, but I'm going to tell you straight up, Freeman, there's no way you can dislike this guy. This dude, I mean, he's I don't know. He says what he needs to say. He protects it for his team. He does things the right way. I like him. I don't know. LSU is getting some studs. They are literally going out and they're spending money big time. LSU, like I talked about this before on the show. LSU is actually one of the few schools that has been allegations of tampering has been presented to the NCAA. They have actively went after players that were not in the transfer portal. So it's going to be interesting. It's going to be interesting to see how LSU continues this, because I know for a fact there's a couple of players that they have went after, and we know it because the players have come out and said, I'm not in the transfer portal. LSU's trying to recruit me. Freshman QB Keelan Russell is going to be a stud. I don't know if it's going to be next year. So I always say this: Ty Simpson, think of Mac Jones. So I'm going to say this and try to be as cool, as collected as I can, because it's like Mac Jones waited his turn. Then he had a chance to step in for Tua, and you remember he had that freaking pick six game against Auburn. Where he just threw 2 pick sixes. Everyone was just like, we're in trouble. We're in trouble. We're in trouble. He proceeded the next year to put on one of the greatest offenses Alabama's ever seen. So Ty Simpson is that guy. Ty Simpson has the talent that Mac had. He has the experience that Mac has. And here's the deal. He's played against what I will call a very good defense for years. He understands the speed of the game. And the thing is people have seen him in flashes. And the problem is Ty has never once came in and played with the ones and actually had a chance to run the offense. Never. So imagine what he could do if he got to play with the ones. I think he'll be okay. But I do think Keelan Russell is the future. Yeah, so A-Cube, that's a cool he said Bucks are Irish. I picked the Bucks to win. Thank you for following. I picked the Bucks to win, Joey. I picked the Bucks to win. And listen, Cube, this is not against Notre Dame. This has nothing to do with Notre Dame. This has to do with that team. They paid a pretty penny for them, and guess what? They're starting to play like professionals. I mean, half the fucking team's going to be in the NFL next year, and they're playing like it. I mean, let's just call it what it is. But Notre Dame has a puncher's chance. They do have a puncher's chance. I'll give them credit. Devontae Smith, Cube, though, his thing was he wanted Notre Dame paid him a lot of money to come there. He wasn't worth that kind of money. I will say this. Like, he's a very solid defender. He has a Saban background, a Saban pedigree. He's a solid defender, but there's a reason why you haven't seen his name. He's been hurt a lot, but there's a reason why you haven't seen his name. And even like this year, he had a mediocre year. He was getting pushed by a freshman. So I still think he's a great player, though. Brody. I think he's a great player, though. So I'm not trying to knock the guy. I'm saying, like, I think he's one of those players that you need. He's a role player, and you need him. I'm talking about Devontae Smith leaving for Notre Dame. Devontae Smith. He's a good role player. He's a situational guy. He's that nickel back. So, I mean, yeah, he's good, 100%. You think Ryan Williams will win a Heisman if he stays 4 years? I'm going to say no, Michael, because Heismans are hard to come by, and for a receiver to win, you have to have a QB on the other side. And we're yet to, as Bama fans, we have to be honest. I think we're going to be okay at QB, but at the same time, we don't know what we have at QB. we think we're okay, but we don't know that. So it's going to be interesting. I don't want to say that because the Mac Jones and the Smitty thing, dude, that was lightning in a bottle. I mean, that was lightning in a bottle, and we truly were dominating. I mean, that was crazy. Hold on, I gotta make sure I haven't missed Kias over here. Sorry, Kias, if I missed you. Anyway, wide receiver will never win Heisman. Cubed, you can't say that, man. Smitty won it in 2020, though. Devontae Smith won it in 2020 for Alabama. I mean, the dude, I mean, it was well deserved, though. Anybody that watched the title game that year when we beat Ohio State, they couldn't cover the guy. They double teamed and triple teamed. They could not cover the guy. There was no covering him. He was unstoppable. 9 defensive players. Oh, yeah, defense, Jim. I'm truly excited for the defense. All those players returning, I think we're going to be good. I really think we're going to be good. I really think so. See, the thing cubed about players skipping college, and here's the thing is, I'm not saying yay or nay, but football is a physical sport, and I do think you need to have time to develop and get adjusted to speed. I think that's a little easier in basketball where it's a lot of hands-off touch, but speed is so much faster at each level, at each progression from the the NCAA to the NFL. It's just faster, and then the guys get stronger, and then players just going to get hurt. I mean, but there are some players that are good enough that I do think it could happen. I mean, Jeremiah Smith is one of those players for Ohio State who I don't know if he could have just came out of straight high school to NFL, but he could leave after 1 year, 100%. 100%. He's that good. Yeah, I got some, I mean, like I said, I got some cool little tidbits of information tonight. We're going to be sitting here reviewing some of these things because I've got some cool articles talking about like transfer portal. I've got another article talking about Title IX and the revenue sharing. This stuff's going to get interesting, guys. It really is. Offensive line has to play better. Yeah, 100% offensive line has to play better. The offensive line played atrociously in games, and in some games it played very well. Just, again, Jim, what I said, and I don't mean this to sound repetitive, but what I said was this year we were a roller coaster. Both sides of the ball, like this. Up, down, up, down, up, down. If we can just be this, we don't have to be the best team in football. We have to be the most consistent team in football. And that's where we should be shooting for, and that's where we weren't this year. We had really big wins and we had really big losses, and a lot of that came down to quarterback play. I'm just going to say it, quarterback play. We all know how I feel about Milroe. He was a roller coaster in himself. The offensive line was very suspect. And here's the deal, and people forget this. Milroe was not towards the end of the year, he wasn't throwing touchdowns. He went from the Tennessee game all the way to the Michigan game without throwing a single touchdown. So what did defenses do? Defenses put everybody in the box, so we couldn't run it. Milroe couldn't run it, but basically we got stifled. Yeah, he gave us anxiety too, Cubed. He gave us anxiety big time, and there's no excuse for him playing that way. There's no excuse. He is more talented than that. I don't know. Something happened. I don't know what it is. Something happened. Somebody got in his head. He got in his head. I'm not trying to sit here. I don't know, but he was not the same guy. He was not the same player. I don't know, man. Like I said, I'm glad he's leaving Alabama. It's sad to say that, but I am glad he is leaving Alabama. Not because I dislike the guy. I'm just saying it's time for Alabama to move on. I don't know, man. Like he yeah. I think Coach would have went to Simpson if Milroe wasn't. Yeah. I think so too. I think, Jim, I honestly believe that Simpson helped try to hold that team together when he first got there. And I think, honestly, for some reason I felt like Milroe kind of was indebted because of that. Like, he tried to keep some of these offensive guys together instead of all leaving. And I think maybe, DeBoer was kind of felt indebted to him. I think this year now, like, here's the thing. If Ty's not cutting it, I see Austin Mack. If Mack's not covering, I think you see Keelan Russell. I think we finally got enough talent there where if somebody's not performing, we pull the trigger. Bad boy Brian, So you can't say he wasn't talented. Like he could throw a deep ball as well as anybody in college football. Not many. But to answer your question, not many. But Milroe could throw a very good deep ball. But if you think he did not throw someone open on the deep ball, he would throw a deep ball to a guy that was wide open, which is totally different. And then he could not read a defense. That's the short to mid range. He was very bad, mediocre at. And basically he was a one play read and run. If he didn't see it, which he didn't see it often, he would just take off. Thank you for following. Yes, I agree, Jim. If he was a one read guy. Yeah, he was a one read guy. 100%. Like it was a rough year for Bama fans. I mean, I'll admit it. I'm telling you, man, I sat right here on this damn platform and cussed Milroe up and down because I expect better from our players. I mean, I know you guys do. Does Freeman go to the Chicago Bears next season? That's very possible. Freeman is the guy. Freeman would be a fantastic guy for the NFL. He checks all the boxes. He would look really good under Gus Malzahn. Yes, he would. Yes, he would. He would look very good under those guys. And I'm just glad he's leaving football because knowing our luck, he would leave us and he'd come back and run for like 8,000 yards on us. Notre Dame is paying him a lot, but let's not kid ourselves. College football will never ever be the revenue generator that the NFL is. So if NFL wanted him, they could get him. Oh, so Bad Boy Brian, I'm not disagreeing with you. I don't think I wouldn't take him on my team. If I did, it would be like 4th or 5th round. And that's a Bama fan saying that. Someone's going to take him early. They're going to take a chance on talent. And they're going to say, hey, I can convert this kid. A prime example of that guy is Anthony Richardson from Florida. Milroe is better than Anthony Richardson. Oh, I know you're a Bama fan. I'm just saying, like, I don't like to talk bad about him, but it's tough. But Milroe has had more records, more stats, and has more of a complete package than Anthony Richardson did. Anthony Richardson just had the intangibles like the size. I mean, I don't think he's as fast as Milroe. And Anthony Richardson is bad. Yes, you're 100% correct. He is bad. But the Colts still took him as a project, and they knew that. They knew that going into it. So, yeah, you're not tough, buddy. Tough, buddy. I don't know what that means. Ohio State, you'll have to clarify. Were we acting tough? Anthony Rich, he was fat. Milroe's up there. Oh, I'm not saying. Yeah, I'm not saying. I told you, Milroe. I think he's that fast. I'm just saying he's not as big as Anthony Richardson, which is why everyone fell in love with him. You're not tough, buddy. Bama isn't tough, buddy. Okay. So you make it to a title game and you're tough, buddy? Catch up, then we'll talk, but bless. Coming out of the woodwork. Colts need a pocket passer. I don't know. I don't want to say that, but we're as tough as they come. Yeah. I bet. I bet. Yeah. Oh man. Yeah, it's okay. I'm used to it. Ohio State does have a very good chance to win this game. Ohio State has a very good NIL program. They're paying more than anyone else right now. So they have a good team. So kudos to them. They're going to win this one. I mean, they took this first time we had a 12-team playoff. First time we've really opened up the NIL checkbooks to this level. People have seen that, and now people are going to do it. I'm in Indiana. I can talk shit to him. You better hope Notre Dame doesn't come out blue. Yeah. Big Hunt, I agree. Richardson, his ceiling is high. All I said was Milroe has more of a resume than Richardson would ever dream of. Now, I do agree that his ceiling, to me, has been met, but to an NFL scout, it may not be. So I don't know. Remember Mario AL title game? Oh, yeah. Ohio State's been paying players longer than we could even dream of, so you might as well stop. Everything that you accuse Bama of, you've done it. And Bama is not broke, actually. Bama is 5th overall in NIL, 3rd overall in total revenue, according to Forbes, and that is over Ohio State as a football program. Now, again, you know, we got to call it what it is. I mean, we're going to talk shit. We got to talk shit right way. Bama has tons of money. I don't know. I mean, our alumni base, I mean, remember, we've been winning national titles forever. We had more, what are you talking? We had more honor graduates than any other SEC team. I mean, what's going on here? What is this? I mean, if we want to talk about it, Michigan has a better GPA average than Ohio State. I mean, what's your point? Anyway, long story short, let's just nip this in the bud. Ohio State. Let's not talk crap. Let's do this. Let's say this. Every program, every major program was paying players long before the NIL came along. No one is paying players this year anywhere near the level that Ohio State is paying players. I'm not saying there's anything wrong with that. I'm saying you have now created a blueprint. Teams like Oregon are starting to see that, and Phil Knight's going to dish out just as much money as Ohio State is. Michigan, you got the Portnoy dishing out money. I'm saying Ohio State set the blueprint for the rest of college football, so now everyone sees it. It's going to be harder and harder for Ohio State to stay at the top. That's just the way it is. Parity is what they wanted in college football, and now you have it. Ohio State's been doing it. We know Ohio State's been doing it. That's why Jim Tressel got ran out of the building. Everyone's been doing it. Oh, I'm not counting out Mac, Nick. I'm not counting out Mac. I'm saying that I think Ty, with his time in the system in the SEC, going against Alabama, I think he has the leg up. I mean, if he can't do it, I do feel like the coach will pull him and go for Mac. Yeah. I don't know cubed what Alabama's percentage is. I do know they are very high as far in terms of the football program. They're very high in the SEC in terms of graduation level and GPA. I mean, I'll say that, you know, we're not as tough a school as somewhere like Michigan, but we are, you know, I mean, we're a major university. I mean, you think I'm salty that Alabama is no more? I've just heard this all before. I've heard all this before. I mean, like Ohio State said, like his comment. I've heard that before. No one thought Bama was going to be back many times before I was even alive. Paul Bear Bryant, greatest coach to ever play. Coach, he left. Everybody said Bama's done. Gene Stallings comes in, wins one. Everybody said Bama's done. Nick Saban comes, becomes the greatest coach ever, passes Bear Bryant as the greatest coach ever, and everyone said Bama was done. No, not emotional. Just I call you out on your bullshit. Just call it out like I see it, buddy. You got to do better. You're going to have to come harder. It's not a reality, Matt. Nah. We'll see. 9-3. First team out of the playoffs doesn't seem like we're done. Seems like we're right there. It's like every other year. Right there. Right there. And I think it really eats at you. That's what I think the real fact is. I think y'all are ate up. We live rent free in your head. Oh man, I love it too. Rent free in that little noggin. We didn't have our best year, Ohio State, but I mean, you know, we have our laurels we can rest on. I mean, the last 30 years tells us the SEC isn't so weak. Nah, Bama's not trash. They did not have a great year. Bear Bryant was 0-5 versus Notre Dame. Okay, I can. Notre Dame had a good program. Yeah, we will rest on them. Like I said, until anyone catches anywhere near us, we will always rest on them. That's why we are the capstone. We are the pinnacle of college football. I just want you to think about that. Why did Saban want to come here? Why did the recruits that Saban recruited want to come here? There's nothing in the state of Alabama. There's nothing. There's nothing that compares to other states to bring people. The reason why is the tradition, the history. People want a chance to be something great. That's why they come here, because this is where legends are made. Now everyone can pay. Everyone was paying before. I don't know what you're talking about. I know Woody Hayes was terrified of Notre Dame. Yes. Say whatever you need to, Matt. It seems like you're struggling. Riley Leonard becomes a legend on Monday. It's where turds are taken. Say whatever you need to, Jeremy. Say whatever you need to. Bottom line is there's been quite a few come out of Alabama. And I mean legends. Riley Leonard becomes a legend Monday. He could. If he wins this game, he will be a legend. I promise you. That's what I was thinking about you, Matt. I think you're kind of in the first stage. You're struggling to accept the fact that we're not going anywhere. But it's okay. Like I said, your hate fuels me because I know that we really must have been a damn dominating force. All the BS about Notre Dame not winning goes away. Go Bucks. Yeah, you still mad about 2020, ain't you? That's what's happened. You're mad about 2020. Alabama is 1-2 in title games against Notre Dame. Well, they didn't really play in title games. Not really. If you think about it in terms of this, like we didn't really play back in the day when like it's Bear Bryant and everything. Those we awarded titles before bowl games. But Notre Dame does have a very great history. So does Ohio State. I'm not even going to knock Ohio State. They're a great program. So I don't stoop to those. I don't have to talk shit. So I don't have to. Where Eagles, but SEC is the best conference, ain't close. Now we struggle this year, real Spencer. We've struggled this year. Bama QB for 2025. Bama's so a couple of things. Deuce, you asked if schedule's hard. Their schedule is exactly the same as this year, but anybody we played on the road, we play at home this year. Yeah, I mean, Josh, there's no point talking shit anyway. What's the point? You know, if you think about it like that, what's the point of talking shit? Because essentially there is no point to do that. I mean, it's a football game. We don't play it. None of us are on the field. Like I said, Matt's not on the field playing. I mean, Bama QB for 2025. I've got Bama's QB for 2025. It's Ty Simpson. And the reason why is just his seniority and then obviously his experience going up against Bama's defense and the speed of the SEC. I think he's gonna do. I think he'll be enough to get him in there. I've seen the video on Keelan Russell. I know Keelan Russell's the truth. But it's a transition going from high school to college. So you got to give him some time. We struggle at 9-3. So yeah, most teams 9-3 and the first team out of the playoffs. Yeah, that's what they call struggling. But in all honesty, like, you know, even that's not acceptable at Alabama. That's not acceptable. So I have to be on the field. Yeah, you struggled, man. It's all right. Hey, like I said, we like being in your head, plenty of room. Do you think SEC should go to 9 conference games? No, James. And the reason why I don't think we should go to 9 conference games is because they've already said they don't. The committee has said they do not value schedule. They say one thing and then they do something else. All you need to do is win your conference, win those games. Record means everything. We say that, Steve-O, but again, like I said, it's not even the 10 games. It's if you win your conference or yes. Because, like if Clemson was 8-4 and won the conference, they still would have been in the playoffs. But it's just, why is Bama so bad? I guess we're still recovering from beating Ohio State's ass. I don't know. It was a while ago. Russell's been working out with professional players. Oh, dude, I'm not saying I'm not saying that he is not going to come in and be. He is that good. I agree with you. Roll Tide, yeah, Roll Tide. I agree with you. He is that good. There's just one Bama hater. I mean, there's just one, dude. Keelan is that good. The problem with Keelan is like I said, you have to get adapted to the speed, and I just don't think Coach. So Max got a year in the system, got a year in the offense. I think he's going to be okay. I think he's going to be okay. But I do think Keelan will be on his heels, and I think Austin Mack's going to be on his heels too. Every conference should play whatever kind of games they want to play, James. If they want to play 9 games, let them do it. If they want to play, like I said, if you have Indiana's schedule, hell, you play whatever conference games you want. It doesn't matter. I mean, hell, everybody's going to be excited to have that schedule. I mean, it is what it is. Who's our offensive coach? It's going to be Nick Sheridan. He's not going nowhere. He's not going nowhere. So I guess let me. I want to talk to you about something real quick. So you keep throwing your questions out. I'll keep answering. So I got a couple of cool little articles. So people have been talking about the rosters. Everybody been talking about Alabama's roster and everything else. So, and I'm a Bama fan, so that's where I tend to lean. So we have 27. Is it 27? 27 players transferred. I've got all the locations for them pulled up, and then I've got all the people we added. Oh, I agree, James. And both those teams made the playoffs. That's all I'm saying. Both those teams. So you got a SEC team, you got a Big Ten team. Both those teams make the playoffs. Why would you do anything different? Bottom line is, it doesn't matter who's on the schedule. You know what I mean? It's who's on the schedule that matters. It's not how many conference games you play. And bottom line is both Texas and Indiana had very easy schedules. Although Indiana was, I think, the worst schedule in all of playoffs, or was it SMU? It's one of those two. But either way, both of those are prime examples of what you should do. The Hoosiers would boat race the top. They probably would. That's fine. They probably would. I mean, we weren't a good team this year. We know that. You take out one little caveat, you take out one player off the team and go, boop, then all of a sudden we're talking about a different Alabama team. That's what people forget. We had a player have a complete meltdown on the side of the field for like the last 5 games. So, and we won games despite him, and we won games because of him. So, I mean, it is what it is. Texas beat 2 teams that Bama lost to. Lone Wolf, welcome back, brother. And I'm just going to say, Bama beat Georgia. Next. I mean, let's be honest, guys. We don't want to compare this year's Bama team. Bama was not a good team this year. I've said this many times. They did not deserve the playoffs. They didn't deserve any of that crap. They were not a good team. You did make it, Lone Wolf. You made it 100%. You made it. And what we were saying is bottom line is play your conference. If you make it to the conference title game, I think you're going to get rewarded 99% of the time, unless your record's just terrible. But yeah, I think that's the route that you need to go to get to the playoffs. If you're asking me, I mean, that's my opinion. So anyway, I got a couple of things we're going to talk about real quick. This is a good one. So this is for all you college football fans. This has nothing to do with Alabama. This is a good. This actually has to do with a Big Ten player. It's a Big Ten player. Former Wisconsin DB Xavier Lucas is leaving the school and transferring to Miami, or he has requested a transfer. No, you're fine, bro. You're fine. So here's the caveat, and I didn't know this, but the Big Ten apparently requires players to sign a 2-year revenue sharing agreement. I don't know if this is true or not. This is coming from the article from Yahoo, sports@yahoo.com. So, bottom line, if you don't like it. So, apparently, the Big Ten makes players sign a 2-year revenue sharing agreement, a contract, making them locked in to the university for 2 years. This player is leaving after 1 year, and he is violating that. So, what is happening is Wisconsin is suing. Wisconsin is suing. And then Miami has now been accused because the player never entered the transfer portal. So now Miami is being accused and is at risk of breaking the tampering rules. Please. They're at risk of breaking the tampering rules. So here's this is funny because we have said on this show many times that we need contracts. The issue with contracts is the minute you make them sign contracts, they are then employees. And when they're employees, they have certain rights that you have to abide by. So with that said, it's interesting to me that this is happening because we have been saying Proctor did leave Iowa and never played. Proctor never even went to school at Iowa. He never even registered for Iowa. So it's different. It's not the same. And we don't know if he even signed that or not. We don't know that. This guy had to sign it. He played there a whole year. Proctor never played a game for Iowa. Hey, Vols fan. What's up, Mike? How are you? So the interesting thing is, and the reason why I brought this up on the show was I'm excited to see the Big Ten. I'm an SC guy, but I'm excited that the Big Ten is requiring these guys to sign 2-year agreements. That's exciting to me. Because if the Big Ten is making them sign 2-year agreements, that helps every team out with the transfer portal. It gives the players a guarantee. So they're going to get guaranteed money for the same thing. So it's a win-win for the university and the player. And like I said, obviously now Miami is being accused of tampering. So it'll help mitigate some of the tampering risk. This just came across sports@yahoo.com. You can go to the article. But a Wisconsin DB leaving the school after 1 year. He is in violation of his contract that he signed, a 2-year revenue sharing agreement. And so, again, it's going to be interesting to see how they handle Miami. And then, obviously, like I said, Miami is the second team that I've officially heard been called out for tampering, LSU being the first. So, and the other thing, I mean, I don't see how a player transfers without being in the portal. That's kind of a unique situation as well. So, anyway, with that said, that was one article I wanted to bring up. It was interesting to me. The other thing that came about this weekend is so Lone Wolf, here's the deal, and this is the issue. They don't care. And with that said, I'm not arguing who did what, said how, or how it's going to play out legally. I'm saying they don't care if it was a booster, and they don't care if it was an agent. Basically, they're going to throw the tampering charge on Miami and let the litigation solve it. That's what I'm saying. So you're saying that Proctor took money and he left. Okay. Well, then he should be in the same boat then. If everything you say is true, he should be in the same boat, and there would have been an article about him doing the same thing, Alan, if that was true. That article would exist, and I haven't seen one. So my point is this player never even played for Wisconsin. He wasn't even a starter, and it got brought up, and they caught it. So I don't know necessarily why it wouldn't have been in the limelight. But, yeah, I don't know either, Lone Wolf, of who it was, but I think they're going to let litigation try to solve it. The other thing is, and so with revenue sharing impending, we all know the universities are going to be able to pay players up to $20.5 million, I think is what the cap is for universities contributing to salaries for players. They can't call them salaries, obviously, because that would be another big issue. And then I guess some of the universities, some of the bigger names, some of them that got brought up, there was a couple. Ohio State was one of them. Michigan was one of them. And there's more. So it's not a pick on those guys. There's more. They wanted to pay 85% of all revenue to the football and basketball teams. Makes sense, right? I mean, it makes sense. Those are your revenue generators. So obviously you want to pay the most money to them. Well, I guess Title IX and the Biden administration have set it to where they can't pay any more than 80% to the football and basketball programs, and the rest of that money has to be split up. So now there is actual conversations about dropping other sports, which I don't understand. That I don't understand the whole article, but essentially, yeah, they're like Biden's last weekend. I mean, it's a big deal because Biden's last weekend. This is the thing he goes after. But yeah, we knew Title IX the minute we started playing players. We knew Title IX was going to show its head at some point because obviously you can't pay players. Thank you. Are you talking about the basketball win, Shane? That was a good win. That was a good game. Be honest, good for the SEC too. But anyway, it's just interesting that the Title IX is rearing its head finally. We knew it would, and how we mitigate that is going to how revenue is always going to go to football. Football generates the most, and then obviously basketball is right there behind it. It's nowhere close, but it's close to it enough to where they should be at least commended. But it's going to be interesting though. So thank you for the win. Thank you for the congrats, man. Yeah, that was a good win. So the other thing that I want to talk about, and then we'll just go back to chatting, is FBS coaches unanimously. I do not have the article. Does not. It's ESPN, so the article does not give me any names. I have no idea who, but they all are backing a 10-day single 10-day transfer portal window, and it would be after the national title game, which we have said on this show as well. After the national title game, let players finish the playoffs. I don't care if you, thank you for following Deuce. I don't care if you're an Ohio State fan, a Notre Dame fan, an Ole Miss fan, a Tennessee fan, an Alabama fan. I don't care which fan you are. If you're in the playoffs, the last thing you should be dealing with is worrying about players on your team that may be required for depth purposes transferring out in the middle of a playoff run. You should not. Ohio State should not have to worry about Will Howard thinking he's going to transfer. No, that's not going to happen. And most players wouldn't do that, but we have seen it. We have seen it already. Tennessee was in the playoffs, hadn't even played their game, and they had 10 players in the playoff and the transfer portal. You shouldn't have to worry about that. So anyway, long story short, this is potentially a resolution. It'll be a 10-day window. There won't be a spring transfer portal. There'll be a one-time transfer portal. You have an opportunity to get in it if you think you need to. And then if you leave, that's it. So I just thought that was interesting that the coaches are coming together and trying to help fix some of the problems. And this is not SEC. This is around the country. So it's very interesting to see this stuff play out because we knew it needed some sort of reform, and it seems like we're finally going to get it in the terms of coaches taking matters in their own. See you, Lone Wolf. Hey, man, appreciate you stopping back by, brother. But yeah, man, a good article. This was on ESPN, but basically they said it would start in January after playoffs were commenced, and then obviously it would be a 10-day window, and then it would shut down, and that would be it. It would be nice because you wouldn't have players trying to leave during the season, strong arm, and you saying, I'm leaving if you don't let me play. I mean, it'd just be nice, but I don't, there's probably not a lot of that happens, but it does happen from time to time. So, be interesting though, but that's just another article I had. And I thought that was a good point. I thought that was a good topic. So that's all the articles I had tonight. Like I said, Saturday night, the way we're trying to do this. So let's just talk about this real quick. So if TikTok shuts down tomorrow, and it's no more, you can find us on YouTube. I'll say it because we don't know if they're going to be here tomorrow. YouTube at Locked, Loaded, and Goated, all one word. You can find us over there. And we are also on Twitch, and it is SOA_Snake Eyes. Like I said, we'll put descriptions and stuff out. We'll send you the information. I do have a TikTok on it actually that shows all that. But essentially, I think TikTok's going to be fine. I think all this is just smoke and mirrors. I think it will be back, and we'll have the platform like we always do, and we'll be able to chat with you guys. But yeah, if it does for some reason go poof, well, we you know where to get us. But anyway, with that being said, guys, that's all we have for tonight. The new schedule coming up, we're trying to work on it. We're trying to decide what's going on. The new schedule looks like it's going to be once a week during the off season. We're going to come on and we're going to talk football with you guys. So we're going to talk whatever, Bama basketball. We'll come on. We'll talk football recruiting. It doesn't have to be Alabama, but basically, we want to make sure we have time to interact with the chat, and we also want to make sure we have time to cover any of our teams. Interesting tidbits or anything like we said around the country that affects college football. That is our primary focus. We'll talk about the draft. We're going to talk about the NFL, the playoffs. Big win for the Chiefs today. I want to tip my hat to D'Amico Ryans though. I thought D'Amico Ryans did a very, very good job on defense, containing the Chiefs. Especially in the first half. Obviously, offense struggled a lot today, but D'Amico's a dude. I know he's an NFL guy, but he would be high up on my list for Alabama. High up on my list. Alabama boy. I mean, he was a legend at Alabama. I mean, but anyway, that's all we have for tonight. Thank you everybody for listening. This is Lock Loaded and Goated Podcast. You can find us on Apple Music, Spotify, and Amazon Music. And again, like I said, we are live during the season twice a week on Wednesdays and Saturday night at 8:30. We are planning on dropping this down to once a week in the off season. That way we have enough content. We're going to do things like best teams ever, things like that, best players ever, best position players ever, things like that. And we're going to try to have some fun this off season, but we wanted to make sure we got on here and talk to you guys about the impending TikTok bans. That way we can, make sure we're all, in line. We have a place to go. But if you need anything, like I said, reach me, DM me, or on TikTok itself. Like I said, I'll respond. And like I said, guys,